Yep, you know, you can close that screen.
Was this here?
Okay.
Right, thank you. Call this hearing of the Archaeological Review Committee of December 1st, 2022 to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Eck,
Present.
Vice Chair Pierce,
Present.
Member Juan,
Present.
Member Zinn.
Here.
The quorum is present.
Thank you. First item to consider is the approval of the agenda. Charlie, got anything changes?
I would think we'll have just an extra, administrative matters item,
I
Or-
move for approval of agenda as published.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
Member Juan.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you. Matters from the floor. There are no matters from the floor, we'll go on. No old business.
Mr. Chair, you didn't talk about the minute. The minute.
We blasted over the minutes. Part of being a good truck. Having a hard time reading this for some reason. Next item is approval of minutes. Committee. I saw nothing.
I do have one correction. It, get to it. Let's see. There it is. This would be on, page 9. Under matters from the committee. The second line there reads that OAS has the product area, that should be project area. That's the only correction I have.
Okay, number 1.
Yeah, also on page 9, the first sentence, it says on page 19, shook is spelled wrong, it's actually Schick, SCHEICK.
That is all. Motion. Approval as corrected.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
Member Juan.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
All right, now I can get back into my proper order. Matters from the floor. Seeing none, there being no old business, we will move on to new business. Case number 2022-6137. Ron Winters, agent for Dale Zinn, requests approval of an archaeological survey and inventory report for the development of 1.783 acres at 831 El Camino in the historic downtown archaeological review district.
You want me to leave? You want me to just shut up? Or what would you like me to do?
Under normal circumstances, when one recuses oneself, one leaves,
Okay. I'll see you later.
and we'll come back.
My only comment was that picture on page 99 is Desi Nussbaum. 1912. Okay.
So, Ron,
Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Ron Winters, 109 Calle Paula, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87505.
Thank you.
Ron, what do we need to know?
Oh, this is a long time coming. I don't know, 2.5 years on this project, and I was basically on call. So when they were digging, I was there. Went through a couple of different contractors and, you know, sometimes it'd be weeks, sometimes months before I would, you know, hear from them again. And I have to apologize for some missing photos. I photographed everything, but unfortunately, my wife warned me about my iPhone 6 when it failed. I lost some photos, so that's why you don't have photos of everything. But, and I would say that, it was not, it was hardly an area that was not disturbed, utility lines through there. In fact, some utility lines that they put in the first contractor and then tore out, later on, and so a lot of disturbance. The only, the earliest, was a single shirt, the earliest artifact, identified, but most of it was that kind of 100-year range from 1850 to 1950. That's about it, so whatever. Ask if I like that.
All right, thank you. I think I will ask the first question and then I'll talk to everyone else. I'm foggy on the sequence of events here because most cases come to us as archaeological survey and testing in anticipation of some sort of document that authorizes something else to happen. In this case, it looks like everything has happened.
Yeah, the testing, what, in lieu of, I guess the trenching became the testing. And monitoring of all those 28 trenches. So you're saying, a monitoring plan first, and then testing.
Well, it just seems that the vast majority of cases that come before us in the downtown archaeological review district consist of some hand excavation and some mechanical excavation to reach the required minimum testing of the property before anything is authorized to proceed. I'm foggy on what was actually done with all these trenches. I'm understanding that they're utility trenches, and I'm not understanding how utility trenches got installed for the project before we review the archaeological excavations and mechanical testing in the normal course of the event.
And I'm sorry, I can't ask Dale a question about this, but what Dale had suggested is that we would use the trenching that was going to be done through utilities as the testing for the project.
That sounds reasonable. It's just a non-standard sequence of events.
Right.
It's got me a bit at a loss. I'll stop there and refer to the other committee members. Member Pierce.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Chair. So Ron, it sounds like what happened here was monitoring in lieu of survey rather than.
Well, I did the survey. I mean, I surveyed.
But
the property.
no case was ever brought before the ARC though, based on the results of that survey. Is that? I'm still.
No,
just like the chair.
the survey I did prior to the excavation. I mean, I did survey the whole property prior to it. And-
Oh, right.
Yeah,
But I guess I meant in the sense that a survey report was not presented to the ARC. You monitored all this construction in
right,
lieu of that.
right.
So that begs the question, did you monitor all ground disturbing activity or was it just
Yes.
one? Okay.
Yes, well, that's why, I mean, it took forever and why it was, whenever there was ground disturbing activity that occurred, I was there.
Okay, thank
And
you for
that's
that.
why 2.5 years, went that long.
Okay, thank you.
But no, I was there. Yeah, in ground distributed activities. Obviously.
The only other question I had, this would be on page 34 of your report. Talking about the trenches
Mhm.
and looking at the description of trench 10 and trench 11,
Mhm.
Both of them discuss a thermal feature or an ash dome. Is that the same feature exposed in two trenches? Because it looks like one got a feature number and the other did not. I'm just curious why.
I thought it was just in trench 10. Did I say it was in 11 also?
Yeah, actually, it's the very top of the next page, your page 35. A thermal feature was identified, photographed, and profiled at the midpoint of the trench. Talking about trench 11.
Because it was discovered they were, adjacent to one another, but that's probably a mistake because it was identified in trench 10.
Yeah, I was just trying to get to the bottom whether it were two features or
No,
one feature, looked at from different angles.
Although the artifacts are different.
that were found, something.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
Two features.
Yes, definitely. Well, you might review that, Ron, and see if you need to add a
Oh.
second feature to the LA form.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
That I may have, carried that over from, 10 to 11. Yeah.
let's see.
Although the artifact.
Yeah.
mentioned
Yeah.
would appear to be the same.
And it's not a clear cut and paste, but it's the same
No.
thing.
No,
It's a
no.
problem.
I'll definitely look at the field notes again and see.
I think that's all I have, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Number one.
I have some questions you said about the sequence of the project and how this worked without any approvals or prior discussion before the ARC.
Just the question, chair, members of the committee, did this happen at the time when, Lisa was still working? Or I just,
I believe so. There might have been a discussion between Dale and Lisa about that. I don't know. But, yeah, I think so, because she was the one that made the site visit, if I remember correctly, and she was involved, in the beginning. And that might have been something that they worked out. I don't know. I didn't into it after that.
I didn't see that in our records, but I'm just gonna dig.
Well, I'm trying to think, yeah, it was 2.5 years ago. Or no, it was longer than that, yeah.
Thank you.
With the features you found, did you expand on them? Excavation
Oh, I'm
on them?
sorry, what?
With the features you found, did you expand excavation on them?
I did a little bit, but it didn't go much further than, I think I caught it in the trench, because I only saw it in the sidewall and just, a slightly, further into the profile. But I didn't, I didn't do a complete excavation, I just, with a trowel, tested to see, if that was the case. I don't know why I'm still baffled. I need to look at my notes about why it is saying in 11. Unless that I've made a mistake in that it actually, that's where it was, that was also seen, because they are, and they were dug, 11 days apart too.
Ron,
Yeah.
I didn't catch it the first time around, but I just noticed on your page 47 that there's a figure 25, a picture of feature one in trench 11. What if you wonder about
Okay, so then
trench
it,
10?
then it was 11 and not 10.
Yeah.
My apologies. My apologies. Yeah, it was 11. Because yeah. Let me look at the map again. Like I said, this,
Yeah, you've also got a profile
yes,
there for 11. I don't see anything like that for 10.
yeah,
Describing the
yeah,
feature.
no. No, that's, you're correct. That it was 11. Because I was, yeah, the photo in the profile, yeah, exactly. So you'd have some cleaning up to do about that, where the feature reduction going to.
And what I captured this is.
Right, right. Well, there were a couple shirts that were. Yeah, my apologies, that.
So that homework needs to be done, and
Yes.
those corrections need to be made. In relation to all of that, somewhere, I don't see it on figure 31. The location of the feature should be indicated.
Okay. The overall,
Yeah, it doesn't show up on figure 31, nor does it show up in the type one or feature location. A dot and a number, please. I would ask that the number of artifacts be confirmed, because it is stated that it's 101 in half a dozen places, and it's stated that it's 102 in other places.
I think, David, that was when I say historic artifacts. Because there was one shirt that's prehistoric.
And then is that what this says? The 101 historic artifacts in the staff report, okay. If that resolves the entire discrepancy, then
Yeah, I was conscious of that not, that there weren't 102 historic artifacts, because there was that single shirt that was prehistoric.
okay. Then that. Leads me to your page 2, your abstract. There's an alternate paragraph indicates that we believe the project area has historical significance. Are you talking about the building?
Yes,
Okay. Since you're doing archaeology, it would be very good to speak to the archaeological site and not speak to the building, because that's kind of our realm, and make it clear that you do not think the site has any historic significance, because that's what you're saying. Your page 31. Appreciate all the math and the assurance that minimum of 18 square feet is hand excavated, but I cannot for the life of me tell what you dug and what other people may have dug while you were watching them do it. Because hand excavation was conducted in a lot of places.
right.
But I have no idea where the two areas that you specifically excavated in spring might be.
Okay, I can identify it better than I.
Now, basically, to differentiate your activities from the monitored activities of others, that will help clarify, because the entirety of the Trump's discussions leads me to believe that there were a lot of people out there throwing dirt in the wrong direction, and
Okay.
it's important to know where you did your control activity. Go page 44, discussion of trench 28. This one threw me for a loop as well. Second sentence in that paragraph says no cultural resources will be covered from the trench or features identified. In trench 28, I don't think there are any features identified. So it might just be that that paragraph needs to be rewritten, because there's two mentions of features identified in the context of discussing trench 23.
Where is that?
It's your page 44,
Yeah, I
the
got that.
discussion of trench 28.
Uh-huh.
Second sentence says, no cultural resources were recovered from the trench or features identified.
Right.
There are no features in trench 28. Therefore, I don't understand the paragraph. So you either need to find more features or you need to edit that paragraph.
Yeah, well, there were no features in there, so.
The next to the last sentence has the same problem. It mentions features identified.
Well, I would say that I didn't find any cultural resources or features. Is what I maybe clumsily read. That's what I meant.
The subject of both sentences is the phrase, no cultural resources. So if no cultural resources were recovered from the trench and no features were identified, the sentence makes sense, but as it's written, it does not follow.
Ah, got it.
These numbers have been fixed. So lastly, in documenting the feature, we have a nice photograph, a nice profile. Do you not use feature form?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't include them in the.
Please include the feature form
Okay.
in the site form so that it's clear that the whole package is represented. And given the extent of changes, I'm asking the committee to weigh in on whether they think this come back to us or whether we can have this repaired and submitted to administrative review.
Well, the tricky question. Mr. Chair, first, let me go on record. I'm not happy about the sequence of events here and that we're seeing a report that describes the work completed, right? I mean, because now there is nothing we can do about it, right? There's no permit to reject. All the damage is done. On the other hand, because the work is completed, there's no pressure to get the report approved promptly. So no reason not to bring it back to us next time.
Go on.
I'd agree with that. I think we do.
Okay, I want to take it back at a motion to that general effect.
Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone consideration of case 6137 to the next meeting.
We have a motion. And second, roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce. Member Juan. Chair Eck.
Aye.
The motion has been approved.
All right, thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Another question.
Oh, yeah. I just want to be clear about, you know, that, I mean, obviously a bigger issue about the sequence, but about things that to address, indicating the feature, and we figured out the number of artifacts. So the historical significance should not relate to the building, but the site. Identifying my hand excavations. The questions on page 44 about the way I stated the features identified, and including the feature form in the site form. In the site form. I'm sorry?
Future location.
Feature, yeah.
And vis-a-vis trench 10 and trench 11 as well, making sure that we figure out which one it really belongs
Got
to.
it. And so those are the, I mean, other than the bid issue, those are the things that you'd like me to address.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do it.
I'm gonna go fetch that.
Real quick, the next hearing is, January 12th.
Right?
And if you could forward anything to me and Nicole we'll we'll figure out where the hole is in the administrative record and kind of what happened.
Okay.
And that-
Okay, yeah, so that's the 27th, isn't it? There's the middle, it's late.
It is like, it's the 27th of December.
That's what I thought.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Now take up case number 2022-6138, Office of Archaeological Studies, agent for High Five Networks. Request approval of an archaeological monitoring report for the excavation of 4 bore pits and 980 linear feet of utilities along Jaguar Drive west of Cerrillos Road in the suburban archaeological review. We have your staff report, currently anything.
No chair, it is rather short, but, short and to the point.
Cool. We have representation from the Office of Archaeological Studies, identify, swear.
You swear under the foundation of the testimony you're about to give to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Karen Warning, 93 Chieftain Drive, San Jose, New Mexico, 87508.
So you have the floor and you can sit up here. You don't have to.
Thank you, Chairman. I do have 3 corrections for this report. The first one is on page 28. Yes. The second paragraph, about 2/3 of the way down. Sentence that begins with city funds have been exhausted. Actually, I think, never mind, it's the sentence that begins with the day that airmail service stopped. City and WPA workers were sent to the airport. So the should be inserted there. Second one is on page 33. The very top line, the far right, there just needs to be a space between in and 1945. And then the last one is on page 37. Under stratum 1. The last sentence needs some clarification on this statement. I'm going to add a couple of phrases in here. So it should read, stratum 1's original thickness was difficult to assess in lower elevations since it was always disturbed, but it appeared to account for at least the upper 80 centimeters in those areas prior to modern disruption. So I'd like to make it clear that that was the estimated thickness before it was bladed in that area. And those are the only ones I found.
All right.
My only comment is on your page 21, the photo that identifies this 1948 photo that identifies the airport as the Tom Thurn Airport, but by then it was the Boyd Airport.
Yes, okay, thank you, I'll make that correction.
So, Mr. Chair,
All right, thanks. Number one.
I got it. But, Mr. Harper.
Number third.
No comment.
Yeah. there's that.
go back a second because also 1951 overlay also had it identified as.
Okay.
That's quite all right, because
Page
it's
51.
Boyd in both cases.
I'm sorry, which page? Oh, on the 51 area.
Now, I have one other minor correction.
Okay,
You've got your notes on that.
okay,
It's on your page one,
okay,
figure 1.2. It's unfortunately the case that forfeit number one got labeled forfeit number three, so you have two forfeit number threes in the figure.
see that, okay. And then I'm not sure I'm in the right place. Which one? Oh. Oh, that correction had been made, but I'm not sure I get that done.
Well, I confess I did not cross-check the digital.
Yeah,
I
so,
have made it correct.
yeah, it's right, it's these two, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I've got two,
Yeah,
number threes.
okay. All right, thank you, I'll get that fixed.
All right. Just prevent confusion.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And no other comments other than thank you for all that math work. Three.
For approval case 006138, with corrections.
I'll second.
Moving and seconded, roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
member Juan, member Zinn,
Yes.
the motion is approved.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next is case number 2022-6139. Office of Archaeological Studies, agent for the city of Santa Fe, requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for the installation of 2,517 linear feet of utilities along Calle Anza in the suburban archaeological review district. Thank you for your staff report, Carly. Anything to change or add?
No chair, not for this one. And we just that we have our applicant in the sky today.
Okay. So as soon as that is- we need identification and swearing.
You have to start my video if you want it, Courtney, or I mean, sorry, Carly.
We're working on it.
Okay.
Sorry, you get to be the guinea pig, Stephen.
Oh, it's not an attendee yet.
Looks like he's been promoted to panelist.
Yeah, let's try it again. And then bring him back. And once he's, I'll try again. And then the dot. And then should give them the opportunity. I don't know. And ask for unmute. I don't know that we'll be able to do video today. It's not
Oh.
11. Okay. Stephen, it doesn't look like we've got you on video today. I'm not sure why.
That's fine. That's fine with me. If you don't want to look at me, I'm fine with that.
It's not that we don't want to, but hey, we can't. So if you can just do this verbally, we'll go on with life.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Thank you. You have to be sworn. in.
Okay. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Stephen Gilbert, 12220 Kinley Place, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87112. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
There we go. Can I ask you a favor before we start? Do you think we can move the microphone a little closer to the chairman's end of the table? I can't really hear them too clearly.
No,
No, we're plugged in, I don't think it.
Oh, okay. We might need an extension cord for the next.
let me just move down here.
There you go.
Chair.
Thank you.
Any cooties.
So, do you have anything to add to all of this?
I just have a couple corrections, as kind of my usual. If you're ready, I'll go ahead. Embarrassingly, the first one is on the title page. It has the wrong date. It says December 2nd, and it should clearly say December 1st. The next one is on my report page 8 under soils. The third sentence there, starting with these two types are the Tanawan and Encantado. There's a missing and after my parenthetical parentheses there that I'd like to add. Let's see.
67.1%.
Yeah, right after 67.1% and the parenthesis, there's a comma. That should be an and, I think, instead. There's a missing word in there. And then my next one is my report page 19. In that first paragraph under NIMCRIS, or I'm sorry, let me get to the page. That first paragraph under archaeological activities and sites in the vicinity of the project area references a table of the archaeological sites listed by component in the appendix, and there is no table of such in the appendix, so I'll add that table to the appendix. Also in that same paragraph, the very last sentence, it says that archaeological resources and historic properties are presented in table 1 and they're presented in table 2. In this one.
All right.
Okay, report page 28. There is a line that is struck through right there in the top paragraph. And I just need to remove that struck through part that was left over from editing.
All right.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Committee members, Member Pierce.
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure if this question is for the applicant or for the city, but the staff memo left me a little confused. So if we go to the staff memo, the last line there in the background and summary paragraph says that prehistoric and historic sites have been documented in the immediate project area and include sites LA 65667 and LA 61326. So when I see that in the staff report and it talks about the immediate area, it makes me think that those sites are in the project footprint. But reading the report, it does not sound like it. In fact, one of them was described as over 400 meters away. So are those two sites located in the project area, or are they simply in the buffer that you did the research on?
They're in the buffer. Here, let me scroll back here 1 second. They're definitely in the buffer. And the actual closest site to the project area is LA 111323, and that's located 318 feet or 97 meters outside of where we propose our project area.
Okay.
Because really the project area is just the street, you know, the water line's not anywhere other than under the street. And so, yeah.
Okay. With that clarification, then that's all I need. Take care of everything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Number 1.
No.
Thank you. Number 0. I have no comments. So with those clarifications and corrections you've indicated, we're done. Make the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve case 6139 as submitted. Only the staff memo needed to be amended.
All right. Second. Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
member Juan,
Aye.
member Zinn.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you all so
Thank you.
much.
Good deal. Last case, 2022-6140. Robin Cordero of SWCA, agent for PNM, requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for the installation of 90 linear feet of utilities at Sandoval Street and Grant Avenue in the historic downtown archaeological review district. Staff report is in front of us. Anything to add or change?
Yes, I do have a couple things to add here. I realize I did not provide any specifications on the design plans themselves.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
You're next, but not yet.
No, Chair, I've got nothing to add.
Now, you need to be sworn in and give us your name and address and all that stuff.
Okay. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Oh, he's-
You do?
he's just muted
I'm
for a
here.
moment.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Your name and address for the record.
My name is Robin Cordero. My address is 404 14th Street. That's Southwest, and it's Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102.
Thank you.
There. That looks like you. The other picture didn't really look like you.
Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today. So.
Oh, what do we need to?
So I do have one correction to make here. I did not provide the specs for the construction plans. The splice box that is going to be on the north side of Sandoval is going to be 5 feet by 7 feet. The boring under the road is going to be between 36 and 42 inches deep. And the transformer pad that's going to be on the south side of Sandoval in the parking lot is 3 feet by 4 feet.
Okay.
And just so I'm clear here, I am asking for a modification to the city ordinance, which would normally require me to put in a test pit on the south side of the road, as it is a ground disturbing activity. I am asking in lieu of that to just monitor, as this area has been excavated before by Southwest Archaeological Consultants.
All right. Thank you. That's clear enough. Committee number one.
So. Sorry, sorry, if this is, I didn't think I'll help me out, so now I have to. So I'm looking at your, pre-filled research, and you choose to show, NIMCRIS activities in the area, but, you failed to show any of the archaeological sites that are there. And if you pull up the NIMCRIS map server, there's a number of ARC sites right there.
Yes, I didn't provide, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Of which have structural remains. And if you pull up the SWICA report that has one of those sites, it says the likelihood of intact structural remains continue under the street. And you kind of failed to address any of that when you're discussing doing boring, not to mention the significant number of burials that were found in that area.
Yes, there. Correct. I did not bring up all of the sites in the area. I put a lot of those in the appendix as a list, and I highlighted those that I knew we would be impacting or that were in the immediate vicinity. The stuff under the road, I did not discuss. I must have missed that project, even though it is an SWCA project apparently. So
Yes, the site is literally right where you're planning on blowing the circle, at least.
that would be the Lensic Theater project. Is that one, or the one that's a little farther to the east?
The Lensic Theater project is actually technically cleared because data recovery is done. But there's actually a second circle that in 09, I wrote it down, and that's actually. Didn't print it very well. It's 109035, I believe.
And that's not in the table.
Unless-
I apologize. I must have missed that project when I did my review.
It's really hard, it's hard to read on my printout. But there's a discussion in that report about how Palace Avenue ended right about there, and that there were structures most likely there where Sandoval is now.
I cannot make
Like
it.
that.
Sorry about
I
that.
just kind of quickly printed it.
I understand, and if I missed one, I apologize.
No.
So
Guess
Yeah.
my point is more that, you're planning on putting 150 by 50 meter excavation unit in one side where you're running through potentially more than one site with no discussion of what there's no, change to plans if you do encounter features in that 50 by 50 unit. Or how to address any of that. So again, I would mention that there are a significant number of areas in that area.
well, I mean, what I will say is that we plan on excavating the full footprint of the splice pit if there is any kind of features or anything in there. But we do not plan on excavating beyond the limits of the splice pit and doing any further impacts to any features that we encounter. As far as the borehole, I can discuss with PNM altering that to turn it into a trench, although that will risk damaging potentially any existing utilities that are in the road. So I'm not quite sure how to get around that. As there are existing utilities, there's some existing power line or cable. There's some existing water utilities, if I'm correct, underneath Sandoval Street. So.
Right, things to consider.
Thanks.
Going with questions and comments. Anything else?
Following up on Courtney's, your own 1883 map shows buildings being passed there. It just seems to me that if we've got a potential of something that's a known site needs to be plotted, and you need to know where you are with your excavation in relation to that, instead of just tiptoeing around it somewhere, you don't know exactly where it is. And there's ways to excavate carefully. So I think we need to avoid damage to anything that's going to be out there that we kind of know is there.
Okay. Well, I will talk to PNM about some alternatives that we can try to do in this case. I'll discuss the option of maybe bringing in some ground penetrating radar to see if we can find any buried structures in the line.
Okay, if you want to throw technology at it, great. Let's go on to the next committee member. Member Pierce.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, as in the previous case, I got a little confused by the staff memo. The last sentence of the background and summary section said that the archaeologist proposes that boring will not be monitored. It sounds like from what you're saying that you are going to monitor boring, and what you had intended was to not do an additional test unit.
We were only going to monitor the two ends of the trench where they're going to be doing the boring, but as they're doing the boring, there's really almost nothing that we can see.
Of course, that's always the case. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what that sentence means, is that boring cannot be monitored, therefore you, all right.
Yes.
Yeah, the only other issue I have is, again, with, you're monitoring expectations. Since we know that there is a site in the immediate area and there are the potential for human remains, the fact that that's not discussed here, it's a deficiency in the report for certain.
Okay.
Whether that affects the outcome of approving it, I can't say. I'm going to defer to the committee. But otherwise, I don't think I have any questions for you at this time.
All right, and then it's my turn. I'm sort of at a loss to understand why one wants to go through the pain and anguish of digging a 50 by 50 meter unit to a 1 meter depth and then augering below that, when it's quicker, easier, and more informative to dig a 1 by 1, actually get in it and take it down to sterile. It just seems like a false economy. And I would submit that another one on the other side, under the transformer, would be a 4-letter word, good idea. Even if people have investigated over there already before, there is no guarantee in any documentation I've been able to come up with that the specific area has actually been excavated. Therefore, all the expectations for what could be there in terms of structures, burials, etc., still hold. So I would start with a simple solution, a 1 by 1 on each side of the street, and both of your loci, and then augment your proposed monitoring plan and incorporate all the matters that have been brought to your attention and bring it back to us.
Okay. And part of the 50 by 50, I should state, we didn't have the specs on the splice box. Our initial assessment was that it was going to be a lot smaller. And so we were going with the 50 by 50 to create the smaller, to fit in a smaller footprint. But now that we know that the splice box is actually going to be quite large, yeah, so the one by understood, and I will modify to do a 1 by 1 on either side of the bore pit, or of the line. So
End of the line, either side. Of the
on
street.
either end of the line. Sorry, thank you.
So, with all that in mind, will someone craft a motion?
Well, sure, Mr. Chair, it seems like there are substantive changes needed. I move that we postpone consideration of case 6140 to the next meeting, if that will work for you.
Indeed.
Motion
Second.
moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce.
Aye.
Member Juan.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Thank you, and thank you, Robin.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
The month.
Thanks.
Would you remove them?
So, having concluded business, we move on to administrative matters and communications, of which at least one is apparent. Harley, what do we need to know?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Committee members, we've got the ARC hearing calendar, and the way that is set up is we went ahead and put the extra dates on the calendar with the double star so that we can book the rooms. And then we'll have them, they're all in the counselor's conference room. So we're saying bye-bye to the Monday room. And those will be as the start dates are just as needed, and so we'll confirm those as we go. At least we've got something on the calendar if they're needed. It seems like the summertime is the furious time.
Yes.
Okay, and that said, this is my last one for a little while, for a few months. Nicole will be on Zoom. She'll be taking in and reviewing the reports and presenting them. Amanda will be running the Zoom. Heather will be floating in occasionally. That said, when she comes in, it might be, she can always give a good update on where they are with contract with the code revisions, because we'll want to have the ARC very engaged in any sort of input that we want. There's lots of language changes and all sorts of things in there that are going to need to happen. And then at the next hearing location, hearing date is January 12th for the next one. And if any of those dates, they don't work, then let us know and we can plan on having them off the calendar. Let's see. I believe that's it.
I assume that July will be as busy as this past one was.
Oh, and there's just one more. There will be an RFP coming out for the Midtown Archaeological Project, because that'll be a big one. I think it's just about to hit. So, that one needs to be done all at one, and before they are able to have their plat signed. Because their master plan got reviewed and approved yesterday. But all that work still has to happen. So it's just another item that will be coming forward. And that's it.
All righty. Now we have an opportunity for committee members to raise matters. Anybody got anything?
I probably won't be available for the first two January.
That does beg a question. Any progress on getting us a fifth member so that we're a little deeper in the bench? If somebody does have to beg out.
This is a tough one. This is a very tough one. Partially because of they can't live in the county, they must live in the city. We have had just a really hard time finding anyone who's ready to step up and take it on. So if you have any further ideas, we will hunt them. And we'll be glad to be on the hunt for them. Heather has been shaking the trees and as well, so.
That's where you find our talent.
I suppose we should be digging for them.
Digging around.
Oh, your tails are falling around on the ground.
I'll be in town for the first 3 months of the year, but I have the citizen's privilege of serving jury duty. So to the extent that jury duty might reach out and interfere, I have no way to do it.
I probably shouldn't say this on the record, but I'm on jury duty now and about 2/3 of the way through it without being called.
The last time, which was only 2 years ago, never called, never nothing. So Who knows?
And I won't be there by Zoom.
And Zoom is always, yeah, we're in full control with the council
She
chambers.
smiles over there. She did it once.
So that brings us to the end of the agenda.
Don't forget.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
member Juan,
Aye.
member Zim.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
We are adjourned.